Besides using standard Modo models to use as trim items, we can also use curves to trim our fusion objects. As you can see, I've got a couple of curves already built here. And curves actually have a lot of functionality within Mesh Fusion. We can use them, besides trims, we can use them to create other things as well. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. But it's also worth noting that besides curves and standard direct modeling objects that you do in Modo, you can also use procedurally generated models that you've created through Mesh Ops. And we'll actually look at that feature a little later on. So for right now, let's just look at the curves that I've got. Now I've got two curves here, curve 1 and curve 2, each residing on a separate layer. And curve 2 actually is a B-spline. So this functionality in Mesh Fusion works with any type of curve, which is great. So let's just take curve 1 first, and I'll select that, and I'll select my box object there, or the box tab object, and I will use this curve tool to use just a standard subtraction object, and look at there. It basically created a hole through subtraction, just like you can with geometry. And of course, this curve is fully editable. If I go into here, I can actually move this around. But notice something here. Notice it didn't penetrate the entire box. And that's because by default, Modo penetrates, or the curves penetrate only at 100 millimeters, I believe it's the default. And that's why I mentioned earlier, it's important to know how big your objects are that you're working with. Now in this case, we want this to go all the way through. Now let's go ahead and bring up the properties panel so we can see all our parameters. And let's select the curve item. And where it says extrusion depth 100 millimeters, I'm going to change that to 3 meters. And I'm going to click manual extrusion depth, and now you can see that that actually went through the box all the way. So let's move to the second curve. Select this B-spline here. I think I can just select that as an item, and I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on my primary object here, and again, let's just select the subtraction tool, and look at that. It cut everything off below it. And as with any of the fusion functions, we can go ahead and update our strip items and select our strip items, grab the hauler tool there, and adjust the width of those bevels and chamfers. There we go.